Okay. I'm like running like 100 miles an hour right now because in the world of technology, when things don't like when you want them to work, they don't want to work. So I got some new headphones and I'm trying to plug them into my Mac computer and I cannot get them to connect because Bluetooth is just being finicky. Shut off all my other devices and just doesn't want to connect. So here we are, but that's fine. I'm here, you're here. Welcome. I want to double check to make sure that this is actually running on LinkedIn, and now it's actually streaming to YouTube as well, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so it looks like it's going. Cool. So today I decided, okay, let me be the first to say I know that the segment is called Dino Nuggets, and it would make sense for me to eat Dino Nuggets for lunch. But Tyson just had a huge recall on their what they call their fun-shaped nuggets, which is their Dino Nuggets. They have like the cheaper brand that just doesn't taste good, and I'm sorry, I just can't subject myself to that kind of cruelty. So they did have Dino Nuggets at the store, but something about it just kind of made me like a little bit icked out because they just had a recall. I'm sure the ones at the store are fine, but I wasn't really interested in eating Dino Nuggets this week. So maybe next time. So this time I got Indian food from a local place that I have not been to. I really, really love Mediterranean food, and there's this great Mediterranean food place here where I am locally. And I promised my husband that I wouldn't go get that without him because he loves it too. So, anyway, give some time if a few more people want to roll in. I'm gonna post the information to the events page. So you can join if you'd like to join. Ooh, that really cut. Did that really cut that a lot? Thank you. I love Ted Lasso. It is probably one of mine and my husband's favorite shows. We just finished it. We love like English Premier League. And so when they came, they had the Ted Lasso bit before. I think it was a Saturday Night Live skit. And when they had, I think is Jason Sudeikis come out and actually like going to do the show, we were like, oh, we have to get on board. So we thought it was a lot of fun. So I've used a lot of funny bits from Ted Lasso in some of the memes that I've done online. So, okay. I have a cat who's very interested in my food. So I guess today, until a couple other people roll in, let's talk about, ooh, that was very loud. I'm very sorry. Let's talk about content that you'd like to see me post as far as like, are you liking the cheat sheets that have like the big Nmap cheat sheet that had all of like the commands that you could run? Are you more interested in the crash courses? I really put my heart and soul into that Elastic Stack run through the other day because it's so interesting to like see how many people don't know about like your blue team tools. I know Elastic like is a really big name, so like that's great, and it made it to be a very pretty presentation because Elastic just has like beautiful colors that they use in their logos. So I tried to tap into that. So as far as that goes, I am studying for the OSDA. I'm currently doing OffSec's SOC 200 course, and so I noticed that like a lot of the content in that course is how to use pen testing tools for blue team stuff, and there is a side of blue teaming, red teaming that kind of like crossover. Like you can use certain tools to identify problems in your system. You know, Nmap is not an exclusively offensive security tool. So, but the elk stack is another large portion of that course, and I don't think a lot of people really understand what that looks like, how it like what is the elk stack. We know elastic, but it's not just elastic, it's elastic search, it's Kibana, it's Logstash. And so how do those things fit together to create this stack? So I wanted to kind of create a visual on that. I thought that it was a lot of fun to make. I like doing the ones that have like commands where you can go through and like basically like a tutorial, because if I'm going to tell you, you know, about this tool or this product, like I want to give you the understanding of like how you can put it on your system, if that makes sense. So I'm glad that you guys are loving the cheat sheets. That's super helpful. The those are ones that I thought maybe wouldn't do as well, because of the fact that there's so much information on one page. And so my thought was like there could be a ton of information on this one pager, like a PDF that you can print out and like, you know, you use at work or whatever. The other side of that is I don't want it to be overwhelming. There is a lot of content on this page. The I'm just not wanting to overwhelm people with information. So I love the feedback. I really appreciate that because that's very helpful. I will continue to do those where I can. I'm a big terminal geek, so I really do love doing stuff on the terminal. There are a ton of commands for different tools. That's kind of why I tried to break down. I think I did a Metasploit and an Nmap crash course. That is very red. That turmeric is like incredibly going to stain my whole like physical existence. So I tried to break it down with the crash courses because there is so much information that can be taught about different tools. But I'm glad that the cheat sheets are super beneficial. So I will keep putting those out. If you guys have any recommendations on tools that you want me to cover, let me know. Right now, my intent was really just to get on my Kali box and go down the list of like tools that you can hit from your applications menu, right? Like I've got a Burp Suite one and a Wireshark one, which are two tools that are more commonly known about. So I wanted to hit the kind of more familiar tools first, but then I was going to get to like just all of the other tools. Because if you download a Kali box, or excuse me, and I'm a little under the weather today, so sorry if I sound a little bit congested, or you know, my throat is like on fire right now. One of the things that I was going to go down the Kali list and just go through each individual tool, because when you download a Kali box, you just have so much stuff that you can use. There's so much there's so many tools, and so people tend to gravitate towards the things that they are very intelligent about or they're comfortable with, like Wireshark is one of them, Nmap, you know, it's all of the standard offensive security tools. But have you heard of Kismet? Have you used Wi-Fi? Like there are other tools in that suite that are incredibly powerful and useful for depending on whatever you're interested in trying to accomplish with them. And so I think it's important to kind of cover those as well. I did do a PowerShell cheat sheet. There is actually, there is a PowerShell. Yeah, so there is one PowerShell cheat sheet. There's the Linux that has two different ones, but there is a PowerShell cheat sheet. Let me double check to make sure that it's on my featured, because I think it was in there. And LinkedIn's APIs have been super goofy right now. So yes, there is. I will put that in the comments. I'll put a link to it in the comments so that way you can have it, Eric. Okay. I'm still trying to get the hang of this streaming thing, so bear with me, please. I am a noob amateur at that, so don't think that I'm a professional. I do have a really cool microphone, and today I was really trying my like best to get my iPhone to be a this is the PowerShell cheat sheet. I was trying to get my iPhone to be my camera. So I'm using my Mac Studio camera right now, and it's like kind of a little grainy. It's not like, podcasters and things like that. They have really beautiful cameras. Their HD, like their quality is super amazing. And I was like, I don't want to buy an external webcam if I have like a phone that I can use as a webcam. And the phone does have the ability. I have an iPhone, so they sync. They have the ability to use it as a continuity camera, which is just a webcam. And it was not. It just did not want to connect. It was fine with FaceTime, but then I was trying to use it on Google Chrome, and it just did not want to do it. I've gotten it to do it before, but there's a very particular set of steps that you have to do, and if you don't do them in the correct time and the correct repetition, it just won't work. And I just didn't want to mess with it because I couldn't get my headphones to work either. So yeah, it's just been one heck of a tech day, I'll tell you that. Hi from Massachusetts. We're both on East Coast time. I'm in Georgia, so it's a little cool here. I hope it's not too cold up there, though I do really, really like the snow. I'm from Alaska, and so originally that was where I was born and I grew up, and so that just snowy, wintry, not the slushy stuff, but just when stuff is falling and nobody's driven over it, it's like chef's kiss, beautiful weather. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that feedback, Taylor, about the crash courses that it lets the audience deep dive into what they want to know. So giving them a base overview is good. And then letting them decide if they actually want to use that tool, so they can go and do kind of their own research as well. So if anybody is just joining, I got Indian food, and it is pretty spicy. My husband said that I should be eating ghost peppers and stuff on here and then going and talking about cybersecurity and saying look at me. I can I can do cybersecurity under pressure. And I was like, heck no, this isn't an entertainment channel where I eat horrible food and then talk through the Active Directory. But that would be funny. I guess that would be some funny content. So this is not as spicy. I got tikka masala, and it's not as spicy as I thought it would be, but it's got a kick to it. And I don't really know. This is Faluda. I've never had this before. And apparently it's those boba teas that a lot of people have right now. Apparently it's very similar to that, where it's got a lot of sweet cream and things like that. So I'm trying to figure out how to, there's gelatin at the bottom, so I can't really drink it. I guess I have to shake it up. So anyway, so something I think that people don't really talk about in the cybersecurity industry, because we're all such a I don't want to say everybody's in the hustle culture mindset. But I would say that I have been pretty burnt out lately. So I don't know. What do you guys do? What do you guys do to deal with burnout? And I feel it's especially big in the tech sector, because it's it's so, you get into your computer, especially if you're doing blue team or red team stuff. You get so into the commands, the computer, and I feel like you get tunnel vision. At least I do. I'm only speaking from my experience. So the burnout, how do you deal with it? And right now I'm talking about towards the beginning of October, I really pushed to get a lot of work done because I needed to. There were just some deadlines that I needed to meet. And so I got all of that work done that should have taken me probably a month or two. And I got it done in 2 weeks, just because I had to get it done to work on other stuff. And right now I just felt the other stuff that has come up, I have just not been able to get my head into. I feel like things have kind of slowed down because of the holidays, so there's not as much going on with your work and like within the community. But then I look at other people, that are doing stuff currently, and I'm not necessarily getting a sense of like, oh, look at them, like I should be doing as much as they are. But I feel like this season right now for me it's a lot slower. So I've really just been trying to lean into like giving myself some time to take a break. But then I go to bed and I think like, wow, I didn't accomplish anything. Because then I look back at October and think like, oh, I accomplished so much that day, and now I haven't accomplished anything, and that kind of sucks. And I don't know, it's a kind of crummy feeling. And people want to. I feel like a lot of people don't want to talk about that in cybersecurity because it's like this. Feel like the tech sector is constantly go go go, and like threat adversaries are not stopping, so we shouldn't be able to stop. And we can't take a moment to breathe, because once we do, like that's where our weaknesses kind of shine through. And I don't know if you can hear my dog. He's whining. Our other dog is outside because she's a little under the weather as well. So she's hanging out outside, and our other dog is a little sad, but she doesn't need to be bugged right now. He's 2 years old and is kind of like a ball of energy. But yeah, so how do you get past the feelings of guilt for not accomplishing as much as you think you should? It's not it's not as simple as saying, this person is doing this, like some external person, so I should also be doing that. You definitely need to take a mental health check and make sure that you are only comparing yourself if you do feel the need to make a comparison to yourself. Don't try to compare yourself to other people. If you feel like you need a push, then, say, hey, this is what I have accomplished. This is what I can accomplish. I know that I am confident in my abilities. And so can I get back to where I know that I have been? Or if you think that point in your life was a little bit too fast paced, that's okay too. But don't compare yourself to other people and their pace. But it's still hard. It's easier said than done because we're all human beings, right? Uh, Thank you very much for the comment. I appreciate that. I'm definitely trying to make this stream a little less formal, which is why I'm eating food and sitting here and talking to you in my like makeshift dining room office. Because I don't know. I think a lot of things that we do in the cybersecurity industry is like, oh, we need to be so professional, and like it doesn't have to be like that. This is fun. Like we should be enjoying what we're doing, right? Like I think that that's the most important thing. Yeah, that's a good comment about burnout. And it's totally fine that you don't resonate with that. I think at a point, everybody will eventually hit that point, unless you're just very, very good at, separating yourself from your work. And that is like a skill that is like tremendous. I fully think that like people that have that skill are just like incredibly emotionally in tune and intelligent with like what they know they can do, what they want to do, and then what's important like on the outside of like their career. But yes, definitely at the technical and tactical level, that and that's where I kind of work right now. That's kind of like my arena of work that I do in cybersecurity. So I think that I can definitely say that that's probably that's a very valid comment. That it's probably worse in like the front lines, if you will, than some of the other points where it's like maybe you're doing a little bit behind the scenes work, or maybe not so actively engaged all of the time. But yes, you do have to take care of yourself first, which is why I've been trying to just give myself a little bit of grace to step back and, have a day where I just eat boiled peanuts and watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And if you don't like that show, that's fine, because neither does my husband. He tries to take it off of our Hulu streaming library every chance he gets. It's my guilty pleasure. Leave me alone. We all have one of them. If you're out there watching Love is Blind or My 90 Day Fiance, don't even try to say you don't have some sort of goofy guilty pleasure. Speaking of which, I saw some comments recently on LinkedIn that was people doing stuff outside of their cyber stuff, and they were sharing what they were doing. Like Gary Ruddle, he was doing gardening. He did a long video, a time lapse. Oh my goodness, time lapse of him cleaning his backyard, and it was so cathartic. So, what are some non-cyber things that you guys like to do outside of tech stuff? And I'm not talking about I like to work on my computer and I like to do that. That's great, but I still kind of feel like that's a little bit technical. So, separating yourself from the technology, what other things do you guys like to do? I know my husband really decompresses a lot with video games. He loves doing video games. I think I'm still trying to find out, to figure out what I like to do. I'm, by most accounts, a new mom. I have a 2-year-old, but I have a 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. And so I haven't gotten into the mom maturity phase. I am still a new mom. So I feel like my hobbies right now are being a mom, which kind of sucks. So I've been working through trying to figure out what my hobbies are again. I used to do a lot of yoga. I liked to, I've picked up a couple of hobbies here and there every so often when I get a wild hair about me. I don't know. I just get hyper fixated on things that I like to do and then do them really good for a while and then just drop them because something else comes up or some new shiny thing happens. Have you been making pasta and bread from scratch? That is I have tried so hard to do that. And it always comes out just awful. Pasta is my biggest nightmare. I bought a pasta, the thing that cuts your pasta for you, and you put it on the end of your mixing device, and you are supposed to feed the dough in. It just got stuck. It was a mess. I did it one time and I said never again because it was such a mess. I could not get the consistency of the dough correct to feed it through the pasta utensil, whatever you call it. I could not figure it out. I did get a bread maker last year, 2 years ago, and I've used it once. And I should probably do it again. But again, it's for me, it's trying to figure out what I want to do, what I want to spend my time with. Oh, that is awesome. That is such an amazing skill, Taylor. If you can really it's the dough that's not too dry that it breaks apart, but it's not too wet that it just constantly sticks to your fingers. Oh, that's just that was so difficult for me to I could never get it the right consistency. Yeah, I'll have to look into that again. I don't know if I'm going to venture down the pasta route again, but maybe I could try my hand at pizza dough. That seems probably that seems a pretty forgiving one. Yeah, I've seen some people, they do playing their guitar, doing things like that. And that music is awesome. I used to be a really big drawer artist. I used to draw a lot. When I was in high school, I was super into anime. and read a lot of manga. So I used to draw like comic books and stuff just out of my own like interests. I love writing stories. That's something that I do right now. But I would put that to like a digital, like a drawing, like I would put it in a comic. And so I used to really enjoy doing that. I don't have much time to do that anymore, but that's definitely something that I have translated into making these cheat sheets. So if you see in the this way, yeah, if you see in the upper corner, there's like the Dino Nuggets, like little the doodle in the live like border. I drew that for this live stream because I couldn't find, for one, you typically can't find a lot of digital work that is not like someone's copyrighted material. And I don't necessarily want to use someone's copyrighted material. And if I want to use it for my stuff, like the security recs, I don't want to necessarily give credit to other people. So I don't want to use their stuff because like I want it to be all my work. So it's not that if I were to use someone's stuff, I wouldn't give them credit. I would absolutely give them credit, but I don't want to like have to say like, oh, I use this person's stuff. Like I just want to do it. So I translate my interests in drawing to making like designs and stuff like that for these cheat sheets and for these these crash courses that I'm doing, and I think it's a lot of fun. So what else can we talk about? What are you guys interested in today? I know we're in a kind of lull because of the holidays, and like I said, it seems like things are slowing down, but like what are you guys doing? Are you interested in certifications right now? Are you interested in learning new tools, or like what things can I highlight for you that other than my dog like whistle whining in the background? What are you guys interested in chatting about? I have like the thinnest napkin in the world. It's the one that I got with the plastic utensils that I got in this pack. This is the most red, like turmeric coated tikka masala I've ever seen. This stuff is so thick that I wouldn't be surprised if the inside of my mouth is red after eating this. I did see something on Bleeping Computer this morning that was interesting, talking about how there is an organization, and I don't want to misspeak because I only very briefly read through the article, but there's an organization called Alpha Lock that is hiring and training what they're calling pen testers, but I think they're a Russian organization, or they do a lot of work with Russia. Like I said, I don't want to misspeak. I don't know particularly how they're related, but basically it was saying like this is a new Bleeping Computer was saying like this could potentially be a new threat actor under like a company that actually exists, which was really interesting to me because can you imagine like actually hiring people, teaching them to do like the naughty things online, and then oh well, it's all claiming like it's all good, like we're supposed to be doing this, like we're pen testers, and then they're actually like doing nefarious things on the back end but not telling their clients. But they're like, hey, look how good our pen testers are, like we got you all of this information, like we got you all of your money back or something from a ransomware attack, and they actually like went in and did something that was like illegal or immoral. It's an interesting business scheme, so I'll need to look into that more because it's pretty intelligent like little setup they got going there. Not a good one, but what do you think a person should have to be hired at Mandiant or any other big cyber firm? degrees or certifications? I can actually put that up on here. Yeah, super. So this is a great question. What degrees or certifications do my colleagues have? Okay, let me answer the first question because there's probably two different answers to this. Let me take a bite of this or else it's going to get soggy. So I now from being in a company like Mandiant and subsequently Google, I thought about this last night too. Certifications and job experience are great. But when you are looking at those applications, or excuse me, the job listings, when you go on, careers.google.com or, Meta or Amazon or whatever, if they say that there are specific qualifications that you need to meet, like your resume has to reflect that. 100% of those qualifications. I know that I even personally have previously stated, oh, if you meet 70% of the qualifications for a role, like apply for the role. And I would not discourage someone from applying for a role, even if they only met 70% of those qualifications. But with big firms, like the ones that I just mentioned, those FANG firms, they want you to meet 100% of those qualifications because they get so many applications in a time frame that if you don't meet all of the qualifications that they require you to currently have, your resume is subject to just be automatically tossed. I have referred several individuals that I felt would be great for certain roles at Mandiant, and they have gotten rejections or they have not gotten callbacks. And now I have the hiccups because they did not meet all of the qualifications. When I initially applied to Mandiant, we were not under Google. I had what I felt like 70 to 80% of the qualifications for my role. The process was different at that time for hiring. A lot of the managers themselves were a very heavy part of the hiring process. So I directly spoke with the manager of my role as part of the interview process, not just recruiters. I had a recruiter contact me and set up a meeting with the manager. I spoke with the manager before we did our formal interview, like our formal tech interview. So I spoke with him like as we were preparing for the interview. Google and Amazon, they don't do that. They hit your resume and they say, hey, does this person meet all of the qualifications? If they do, we'll put them in this pool. If they don't meet 100% of what we are expecting, we are going to automatically push that one. So it's frustrating. Yeah, and I wouldn't say they only want unicorns because I have had, and he currently works at Google now. I have referred someone who didn't meet all of the qualifications for a job that I referred him to, but he kept applying to other roles. And I can't speak for his interview experience, but now he currently works for Google under a similar role that he had applied for. I think the hardest thing to get past when you're applying with these big firms is the initial interview process. Like the initial recruiter sees your resume. Once you're able to solidify at least one interview, even if you don't meet what they're looking for during that interview, it's easier to go through the process again. And that's why people reach out to me and say, hey, I've applied at, Google, at Meta, whatever, this many times. Do you have any advice? And my advice is just keep applying because you belong at those big firms, you fit in those big firms, but it's just finding the right fit for you. And once you get past the hurdle of, discouragement and say, well, I didn't get a call back, I didn't get this, like it's just too much, it's too high of an aspiration. It's not. I didn't refer him, but someone else locally also just got a job at Mandy at Google as well. That was referred by another individual that I work with. And so, like, it is possible. And reaching out to people that work in those organizations, like reaching out to me, I've had plenty of people reach out to me and say, hey, can you assist me? Can you look at my resume? Can you do this? I have no problem assisting with that because I see it from the inside looking out. It's very easy for me to like seem like I'm preaching to the choir about like how to do stuff, but it's just a different perspective because I'm in it. I didn't go through like the difficult hiring process that there is currently because Mandiant was a different company before we got into like Google Cloud. Like they were a separate company, so their hiring process was different. But we internally now understand like what the hiring process looks like, so we are able to guide people a little bit more appropriately and with like a little bit more fidelity on how to like get into those roles. So that kind of looks at the first question. The second question, degree certifications. I don't even think that you don't need a degree, especially if you're looking at associate positions. Degrees are great for if you're looking for higher positions. Like if I were to be looking at a manager position and I didn't have a master's degree, I would probably want to go and get a master's degree. But if you're looking to get like an entry level position or an associate level, certifications are going to be like your best friend, I think. And it really depends on what you're trying to do. I have friends that work in like IR and blue team like roles that have offensive security certifications. If you're coming straight out of high school and you don't have any job experience and any certifications at all, go get your Sec Plus, go get, like all of the baseline. Everybody's preached it before, like your baseline certifications, and then try to work your way in through that. Another thing that I would also recommend, and this is just food for thought, if it is worth considering to you, try looking at roles, especially if you don't have very much career like you don't have very much job experience in like a tech role. Try looking at roles that aren't necessarily tech jobs. So in Google, if you are interested in doing a tech job, but there is another job that's maybe a little bit more low maintenance, a little bit more soft skill oriented, if you can get an interview and get a position like that, it is much, much easier to navigate through different like avenues of, Google or Amazon. That's going to be very, very important if you're coming out with no experience at all. Google specifically, and I keep saying Google because I have experience at Google, but I am certain that it is like this with the other FANG companies. They have great programs to try to teach you what you want to learn, or they have good reimbursement programs, or they have, we'll pay for this training for you or whatever. So if you can get your foot in the door with a non-technical role, or maybe a role that's lower than that, if you are really, really adamant on trying to be a part of a large firm like that, that's what I would recommend. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox now because I just went on. Okay, let's see. Let's do this one. I'm going to eat a snack. This is so messy. So does anybody have any suggestions on how to best enter the cyberspace as a newbie? And feel free, y'all, put y'all's comments in if you have experience as well, because this is not Bailey preaches to everybody else. Like, I want y'all to help others if they have these questions. That's why we have this kind of networking. That's why like LinkedIn is so great for networking. This is a huge bite of chicken that I want to cut because I don't want to stuff a whole big one in my mouth and look like a total goofball on a live stream. So I love WGU because they give so many opportunities to get certifications in the industry. Something that I think the industry is lacking, and this is just my 2 cents, is a company or a firm that's willing to take on junior or associate students and give them the opportunity to work with them throughout their college education or maybe their post graduation, and trying to get them the job experience, because you see an associate level position being hired for that's like, we want you to have 5 years of experience. It's like, this is an entry level job. How am I supposed to get experience without like being in a job? I think that we need to do better as like a corporate or like industry to take on more entry level like students and people that are just getting out of their graduation, and taking them on and getting them the experience. And maybe it's maybe someone with experience like oversees them. Like, say you run a pen test engagement and you bring on 5 junior pen testers, and you give them the opportunity to pen test this network for this firm, just like you would any other company would go and pen test, for this network. But then their work is checked by, the senior pen tester, someone who has that experience. So that way someone can come and say, hey, I did have experience. I got, like, it was on the job training and, something like that. And maybe it works better for small businesses, people who don't have as much like a stake, because I know large corporations would feel very weird about like letting junior pen testers test their network. But if it's all like overseen and operated by a senior pen tester, I don't see why that would be an issue, because all the work is validated. But it's just my 2 cents. So going back to your question, comment, Dustin, I think looking at small businesses being like ones that are not your big corporations, and trying to see if they have entry level roles, because they are more friendly to allowing people to come in with less experience, because they do want to, they want to build their workforce. But there are people and CEOs of these small businesses that do genuinely like feel like they need to train the next generation of like cyber, experts, professionals, whatever you want to call it. So I would look for roles in small businesses. Depending on your location, there are a ton of small businesses in like the Reston, DC area. So I don't particularly know your location, but you go to any like major city as well, there are tons of organizations that are not like Google, Meta, smaller firms like that. And asking people in your local area too, if you're looking to stay local, about, what organizations those are. Because when you think about San Antonio, Texas, for example, you don't think that there's like, that's not a big cybersecurity hub like, maybe Augusta, Georgia, or Washington, D.C., big intelligence communities and things like that. You go to San Antonio, Texas, there's still an Air Force base. There's still, there's ICs there. There are private locations, like private firms. In Austin, Texas is a great example of a big private sector like tech area, then they have tons of small businesses because everybody's looking to get a piece of their like cyber, or they want to do things a different way than a company that they worked for previously. Ooh, this is a big orange cat. Ugh, down. So look for small firms, honestly, when you're looking for your next role, and definitely capitalize on all the certifications that you can get while you're at WGU. Because if you don't have the job experience, those just solidify that you know what how to study, you know how to learn, and you are resilient enough to go through, especially some of those SANS certifications that they offer, that you're resilient enough to go through and take a whole SANS certification. So that would be my recommendation. Yeah, I would not get discouraged by big organizations because it's not the organization's fault that they're big. It's the recruiters and the managers' fault that they are not doing a service to you to assist with your journey, as well as trying to facilitate their own career, if that makes sense. Like, I would not say be mad at Google or be mad at Amazon for not hiring you. It's really discouraging and it really stinks. But there are some crummy recruiters out there. There are some awesome recruiters, like absolutely outstanding. And those are the ones that you have to find. And unfortunately, they are not always in charge of the jobs that you want to look for. But that's why reaching out to people in your network that know who to get in contact with and who can help facilitate maybe some of those conversations, that's so crucial. Because if someone were to reach out to me and say, hey, I applied for this role and I worked with them previously and I thought that they were qualified for that role, I could then reach out to someone in my organization and say, hey, I was just curious, like, what the status is on this role, or if you are, if you've seen this resume come through. It doesn't always work like that. I mean, I will be 100% honest. Like, some people that you do reach out to in like Google positions, like, some people just aren't willing to help. I am one of those people that's willing to help. I'm willing to reach out and, talk to people, but just I don't want to give a sense, like a false sense of like, oh, just reach out to people that work in these jobs, like, and then you'll for sure get an interview. Like, that's not how it works. And I wouldn't want to make anybody assume that my colleagues would do that, right? Like, I am Bailey Marshall. I can only do so much as one individual for you that happens to work at Mandy and Google. So I'll just put that out there just to make sure that I'm not volunteering my colleagues or someone else that works at these big organizations for that. You just have to put yourself out there and just hope for the best. It's what I did. I did the same exact thing when I was trying to get into my job currently. And I had people that did not respond to me, and I'll be perfectly candid. It left a bad taste in my mouth for that organization. Like, there's one individual that I saw that would post a lot of, hey, I'm here for veterans. I'm here to help veterans get jobs at my company. Please reach out, whatever. And I reached out because I was a veteran at the time and I was interested in some of the roles that they had. And he just completely ignored me. And so I was like, that's really, like, that's weird. But, everybody's human. Like, people get a lot of messages and sometimes I miss messages. So if you've messaged me and I haven't responded, like, please reach out again. Because sometimes I get a lot of junk messages and your message might fall by the wayside. And I'm human. I don't see everything. So that was my thought as well. I was like, hey, like, I reached out to this person. They didn't respond to me, like, let me just try again. And I tried again. And then I gave it some time and kind of cooled off. And then I think I reached out one more time, and it is also about the way that you present it too. You can't just go in and be like, "Hey, can you give me this interview? Hey, can you read my resume?" Just like, just be casual. Just like, "Hey, I noticed you are putting this out. I'd really love to chat with you." Whatever. But this person never responded to me, and yet all the while he's like, "I'm here to help veterans, and I'm here to do this, and like, contact me, like, reach out." And I'm like, "I reached out, like that sucks. You've made me feel like so crummy." Like that just it really just upset me, and it really discouraged me. And this organization is not like a huge organization. They're big, but they're not like Google or anything. But it just like kind of left this sour taste in my mouth for this company. And now I work beside this company as a contractor. I like work in the general vicinity of like other contracts that they have, and I'm like, man, like I really don't like this organization, and I don't like what they do. Like the people, the employees that work there are fantastic. The people that I work with are amazing, but the organization is just like, man, like y'all already left a sour taste in my mouth, and now like what you're doing and the like higher level of like the work that you're providing is just like is also bad. And so I just was like, okay, well, I guess I really just don't like this organization now, and I'm not going to ever apply for them because of that whole experience. And they're probably a great organization. I've heard people that have really enjoyed working for them, and that's great for them. It's just not for me. um let's see. There should be a Yelp for recruiters. There is like a rate your professors website for people that have gone and taken college courses. And we used to use it when I was in school to see like what professors not to take, because there would be like two biology courses you could take, and then you could pick from like two different professors, and one would have like stellar reviews and the other one would just be like absolutely awful. So there should be something like that for recruiters, like for sure. Because I feel like recruiters are human beings. Okay, let me just put that out there. However, recruiters are also supposed to be people persons. They're supposed to be easy to talk to and like friendly. I think I like those are soft skills that I would assume recruiters would have. And I just don't think that's the case sometimes, because you would think you're talking and interfacing with people constantly. Wouldn't you want to be like someone that is reliable? And I know they have quotas to reach, and they do, um, whatever. But I have had so many conversations with amazing recruiters that like I still see their LinkedIn posts, and I'm like, like they're just crushing it, and they're an amazing person. Like they are really great. They were really easy to talk to. I didn't end up going, maybe with their company, or maybe I wasn't a fit for a role that they were looking for, but like I'm going to repost this because like they're great. I really like them. I'm glad that they're crushing it in the roles that they're in. So yeah, it just blows my mind sometimes. Yeah. Um, Veteran recruiting is that's a spicy topic. So we'll just leave that one as is. It's easy to target a community of people that have very similar characteristics. I'll just say that. Um, Yeah, this is kind of like that's kind of what I wanted. Like it's kind of like a brown bag lunch sort of thing. I just like last week I got Chipotle and I have hardly eaten anything, but I'm talking most of the time, and so it makes sense. It's fine. But I love the comment stream. I love that people are engaging, and if you see a question or a comment that you like want to respond to, like I hope this helps you grow your network as well. I hope that like other people can see your comments and questions and maybe provide insight that I can, because I don't know everything. I can only speak to what I do, like what I'm comfortable with, what I have experience in. Um, I always tend to downplay my experience because I am like not 30 yet, so I would see myself as like a young into a young adult, whatever. And I feel like there are people out there that are um like have more experience and time in the industry, and I'm like, well, I'm not even 30 yet. Like, how can I speak to this stuff that like other people, like, they clearly have to know more than me, because I just like, I feel like, I don't know, I definitely downplay my experience a lot. And I do have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience teaching, being in roles, being in part of the defense sector. But it's my imposter syndrome speaking. Okay, let's look at this last thing. Um, this Wired article. I'm going to try to open it up here. I have not seen that, but I'm trying to pull it up and just see if I can open it. So it looks like a web killing monster. Interesting. I'll have to look at that. I don't want to sit here and read that article right now, but that's really interesting. And y'all go and check it out too, and maybe we can talk about it this next time. That's like Wired has like some crazy articles about stuff like this, but cyber warfare and like weaponizing cyber is like so interesting to me, because people don't tend to think that cyber can have like, or should have, kinetic effects, or any sort of like ramifications, other than, you know, like system degradation, um, disruption in service, things like that, deleting data. But I was talking to someone recently that was interested in OT security, which is your operational technology. And that's like your water reservoirs, things that have like part of the electrical grid and stuff. And those all have cyber aspects to them. And so securing those is like incredibly crucial, because if you don't, that can cause, like, someone can like set off a nuclear reactor just by you know, maybe DOSing their infrastructure. Like, just having those capabilities is like scary. So we definitely need more people in the OT like side of things, to make sure that we actually can secure those technologies. Because imagine like nuclear war, but it's not nukes like bombs and stuff. It's like strictly cyber. It's crazy. I know it's like kind of Terminator-y type stuff. Last thing I wanted to chat about is that I have been talking to Anthony McCormick on LinkedIn. He is doing the CPTS, which is with Hack the Box Academy. It's the certified. Oh gosh, Hack the Box CPTS. I gotta look at the Hack the Box penetration testing certification. I had to look up what the acronym was. And so he said that he's gonna like give me some updates on like his progress. And so he sent me a message last night that was so like interesting. So he said that he had gotten the annual subscription for Hack the Box. It unlocked like the job role modules for SOC analyst, bug bounty, and penetration testing. You get one voucher, but 2 attempts for an exam. And then he said that he's about 25% done. And he said that the modules are so fun. Like, he was really enjoying the cross-site scripting, burp familiarization, JavaScript, code obfuscation. And he also said that the presentations were really good as well. So he said that the questions and the skills assessments were pretty relevant to the content. So I just thought that was really interesting. I have like I don't have any experience with Hack the Box Academy, but I wanted to share that with you because like I feel it's like important to share that like wealth of knowledge and not gatekeep it. And I might have to get on Hack the Box and start looking at that because I have seen a lot of really good feedback from them and their academy. So if you guys are doing the CPTS or any of the other Hack the Box paths, if you want to message me and let me know like how you're doing, I'd love to hear that because I love Hack the Box. I love the work that they do. I love the people that work there. They're great. And yeah, I want to hear more about y'all's experience because if we can, share other options, there's OffSec for offensive security, but if there are other options, I obviously love TCM security as well. But just like, let's just share like what we can to give people every opportunity they can to like get into the sector and like hone in on their skills, like create some master pen testers and like without even being in the industry yet. So that would be really cool. I am done for the day. I'm gonna go finish my tikka masala, and I really enjoyed this. I will try to do this maybe once a month, maybe more than that, but I think once a month sounds really good. So please tune in next time, and it's been great to talk to you guys. Thank you. Bye.